Welcome back, 9 to 12 friends. It is day number 2, and we are continuing just a little warm-up exercise for this week. So you do have an official assignment, and we will get to all of the components you will need for that at the end of this quick little lesson for you. But I want to review a few things and make sure we're all on the same page about how art is going to work. So hopefully you've watched day 1. If you haven't, you should stop, go back to day 1. If you are choosing to do this by video, it's important that you watch things in order as they will build upon themselves. And you do need to watch, and I do see in Schoology if you are accessing the materials, it's not okay to skip through and not pay attention to each piece. You are required to know this knowledge, and it'll be tested and it'll be built upon throughout the quarter. So it's important that you are paying attention to all of the information as we go on. This week is all about your name. We're just kind of warming up. Every year we kind of refresh ourselves, get to know each other better. It's so important to me that I know everyone's names, and obviously I've been your teacher now. If you've been at Parker Woods for 2 years in art class, some of you I've known a little longer from other years I've worked at the school, but you know, we haven't seen each other for 6 months, and some of you are brand new, and it's really important for me to be able to call you by your name and also to be able to pronounce that correctly, which I know is very difficult for me sometimes with so many students. So that is a big goal of mine, to make sure that not only can I call you by your name, but that I pronounce it correctly. So I do have a story, and it's called Teach Us Your Name. And it's by an Arab woman who grew up hating her name because people always mispronounced it. So there's a YouTube video. It is a picture book, but it's a cute story. So if you'd like to read that, I have shared that link within your folder. The illustrations are lovely, so if you'd like to take a look, I recommend pausing the video and taking a look at that. The reason we're starting off with your name also is because a lot of the work this quarter is going to focus on identity. As artists, especially as modern artists, you know, we're not just having some rich benefactor come in and say, okay, I want you to paint this landscape picture of my castle for me and paying you money to do that. As artists, we are using art as a form of expression. And what are we expressing other than ourselves? You should be putting yourself into your artwork as much as possible. Okay, we are expressing our identity. And as we will look at modern artists, we will see how we can learn about other artists by seeing the things that they include within their artwork. So the very next thing we're going to do is we are going to pause this video, and I need you to watch the video from MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art, called Art and Identity. So take a few minutes to watch that video. It's a little less than 5 minutes, and then come back and we'll discuss further. All right, so I hope you took a look at that video. I love that video because it talks about identity in 3 different ways. It talks about the identity that we have for ourselves. It talks about the identity that those around us, our friends and our family, how they view us. And then it talks about how the outside world views us, you know, so those people who don't necessarily know us but who see us. So I love each of those different expressions. I think each of those artists did a lovely job capturing the essence of what that might feel like within artwork. So we're going to explore each of those things in a little bit more detail throughout the year. So this is just to kind of start getting those wheels turning and start thinking about, how do you see yourself? How do you think those around you see you? And how do you think the world sees you? And how might we express that within artwork this year? But the first thing we're going to do is a little bit more playful. I just want the identity of your name. So you're going to, in your artwork, create the focal piece of your point being your name. When we talk about the focal piece, that is what it draws the viewer's attention first. So typically that means it's something that's centered. It means something that's very large, maybe something that's very bright. Maybe you're using contrast to draw the viewer's eyes to that part first. So first and foremost, when I look at your piece, I should see your name. then it's really up to you how else you want to organize this work. I'm leaving this very open-ended. This is a warm-up exercise. This is a playful exercise. But there are still some parameters to that. I want to see your name bright and bold. Okay? You can decorate that name however you'd want. There's multiple YouTube links that walk you through some different ideas of how to write your name in a more artistic way. I don't want to see you write your name the same way you do when you are writing your name across the top of an English paper, right? Your letters should be turned into shapes, right? It's not just a straight line here or there. You can't decorate that. I want to see a letter that you're able to decorate, whether you fill that in with a pattern or some sort of color, or you shade it, or you give it depth and make it appear three-dimensional. Again, I want to leave that part open-ended, but your name needs to not just be plainly written. It needs to be written in a decorative way. So when you do that, it should be big and fill your paper. We talk all the time in art class, and you'll hear me say this with every single project, that your art should fill your paper. Okay, I don't want to see you take a piece of white paper and put your name this big in the middle. Okay, your name should fill your paper. Your artwork should fill your paper. Next, you're going to use color of some kind. The medium is up to you. I'm going to allow you to kind of play and explore whichever thing in your art bag you want to get out with and play with first. So you've got markers in there, you have oil pastels, there are watercolor pencils, but you don't have a brush yet. So I'd like for you to hang on to those until later. So choose some other way to add some color to your work and just color in. It should be your nicest, neatest work. So, you should take your time. The way that art is structured, you now have Wednesday, Thursday, and even time on Friday to complete your artwork. So minimum like 2 hours should be spent on that. Okay, so some of that 2 hours will be some of the practice in your sketchbook, plotting it out on your paper, and then there should be a good amount of time spent coloring it in nice and neat, right? That means I shouldn't see the white of the paper really showing through. I should see that you took your time to trace around the shape and then fully color it in. That when we trace around a shape before we color it in, it kind of like helps our brain say, okay, stay within this circle, now just color in the circle. So slow down and take your time, because you have the time now to really make your art your nicest, neatest, and best work. Let's make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Art fills your paper. Name is central in the artwork. Name is the focal point. Bonus points, I have a review for you that can get you some bonus points already right off the bat with your first piece. I have a couple examples I've been working on, so this one is finished. So I went ahead and made like a three-dimensional name here, and then when I colored it in, I did it to add to the depth. But the thing I want to call your attention to is I really made it the focal point by my use of color, right? First, the gradient really helps it pop, but my main color of my name is green, and the color around it that really stands out is that red. I use complementary colors. That should be a familiar term from last year. Hopefully to my new friends, you've heard that in previous art classes. When we talk about complementary colors, we're talking about colors that are directly across from each other on a color wheel. So red and green are a great example. Here's another example that I was doing. This one, I think the color looks weird on my camera, but this is like a purple here. So purple and yellow, or even like, and then I have some blue on the outside and then a little orange. So blue and orange, complementary color pair. Purple and yellow, complementary color pair. So utilizing those together helps add that contrast. When you have contrasting elements next to each other in a piece of artwork, it makes them stand out. It helps the viewer see those as the focal point, the focus, the central piece of the artwork. So I would like you to consider using complementary colors. You'll get bonus points if you use those correctly to help make your name. It's a successful tool to use as an artist to help make your name the focal piece, which is one of the criteria of your work, is that your name is the focal point. Okay, so complementary color, your basic complementary color pairs, red and green, yellow and purple, orange and blue. I'm going to include a chart in here for you to reference, because you can also look at those tertiary colors as well. You know, if you're going to blend your colors, let's make sure that when you blend, you can also find a complementary color, and it's just the one directly across the color wheel. So I'm going to insert a little color wheel here to help, and if you need to pause it for a little bit to stare at it, please do. Okay, let's review about grading a little bit, and then I will totally recap everything that should be a part of your first assignment. So most all of you who've had me before, and we really focused on this last year, we talked about this analogy of a cheeseburger when we talk about your grades. Okay, when I give you an assignment in class, I'm going to outline, you're going to, in this case, make a picture with your name, right? There's each little piece I've already talked about. When I give you that order, that is, giving you an assignment to do. And each component there is an important piece. So if you turn around and you give me that, each thing that I've asked for, then that's earning a B within my classroom, right? But if I order, when I give you the assignment, say you chose to make your name really small in the middle and you didn't fill the paper with your name, and so you're missing some of those components, so you're missing some toppings of my cheeseburger, right? Then you didn't give me what I ordered, and that's a C. If you chose to take some of your project paper and draw me a picture of Pokemon or some other random thing, but it didn't include your name, and it really didn't address the assignment as it was given to you, but you made something artistic, that's a D. You get a little credit for having done some artwork. But when you're given an assignment in art class, it's for us to talk about art topics that we need to learn. Like, just like when you're getting a math assignment, you don't just get to kind of turn around and be like, I'm in fifth grade, but all I really felt like doing was adding 1 + 3. So that's all I did. You don't really get a lot of credit for that because there are certain things that we need to learn. So there's certain things we need to discuss in our artwork, and that should show through in your work as well. So a D if you just decide to draw whatever you want to. An F if you turn in absolutely nothing. If you choose not to do any of the work, there's 0 credit for doing nothing. When we talk about how to get an A in my class, there are 2 things that bump you up from that B burger, that, turn an assignment as ordered. One is by positive participation in class. So when you show up, when you're paying attention, when you're asking and answering questions, those are extra points. Those are bonus points, and I keep track of all of those things, and those will always boost your grade up. So whether you're at a C, it'll boost you to a B. If you're at a B, it'll boost you to an A. If you're at a D, it'll boost you to a C. But the other way to boost it is to really make your artwork your own, right? We're going to talk about identity. So that's a great way to add in, for you to really express yourself within your artwork, to put in those extra details, to really show me that you took your time with your piece. Those are going to earn you an A. I think a lot of that differentiation happens a little bit at the lower level, where students would see my artwork and then recreate it exactly as I made it, right? They're just taking my example and recreating it. And sometimes that's all we're kind of able to do if we don't have our own ideas. What I'm looking for you to do is to find your own ideas within your piece. So I don't want to see you take this assignment with your name that should be about you, an expression of you, and end up really making it an expression of me. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind. There is no reason that all of you shouldn't end up with an A and a B in my class if you are participating in doing the artwork. And if you have any questions about your grade, that's a great spot for what my office hours will be for and what Artsonia will be for. So if you have a question or you're unsure, you can message me through Artsonia or Schoology, and we can set up a time to talk about your artwork. But I like to play around with this cheeseburger analogy to lay out your assignment. So I have built my cheeseburger here, and you can see I have a bunch of toppings, right? I got my burger bun, I got my patty, there's a tomato, I have cheese, of course, some lettuce, even some bacon on this burger. Each one of those toppings represents something you need to do for your piece. So always, 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 your burger is your nicest and neatest work. Always. That's what the burger patty is. Okay, my tomato today will be art that fills the paper. Right? I don't want to see you utilize this much of a piece of paper this big. Your artwork needs to fill the paper. Most important of that is that your name is large on the paper and it is the focal point of your piece. Focal point meaning focus, focal, focus. So make it big. Consider using those complementary colors to really make your name stand out and pop. So focal point, that's my cheese. Your name, for our lettuce, your name is written in some sort of bubble or outline format. I don't want to see just a simple line for your name. It needs to have turned into a shape, right? It needs to be written in this flourishy, artistic way. You can create your own. You can utilize some of the how-to videos. There's a how-to video about making simple bubble letters. And then the one with the 10 different styles, the first style she shows you how to do is how to outline. So simply drawing the letter, and then you're tracing around it, but creating space as you do that to turn it into an outline. And that gives you something to fill in, something to decorate. So your name is written in a bubble or outline format. That's our lettuce. Our bacon color is added, the medium of your choice. So I don't care which tool out of your packet you want to use, except please don't use it. Don't make it a collage. Don't cut up that paper. We will need that paper for something else. So when I'm talking about the markers or oil pastels, really, I think are the two options that you have, because we're going to hold off on watercolor pencil. So those two, create some color. You know, if you have other art mediums at home, aside from those, you're welcome to get into your own stuff. I'm really okay with that because this is an open-ended project. But if there's projects where I tell you this is what you use, I want you to use that. So that's your burger. I do have a bonus topping. The bonus topping, the extra points if you utilize complementary colors to help in adding the contrast. So this really is an art tool that's going to help you make sure that you meet the focal point requirement, and that's using complementary colors. So remember, those are the colors across each other from the color wheel. So yellow and purple, blue and orange, red and green. I shared the still in this video earlier of a color wheel, but you can also find a color wheel reference page in your in the first week folder. So reference that, look across whichever color you want to use, look across the color wheel to find its complementary. We'll put the bonus on the top bun. Okay, so let's review to make sure you know exactly what is required of you to complete this and get a perfect A your first week. Okay, nicest, neatest work. Your art fills the paper. The focal point of your artwork is your name. You are expressing your name to me, you are sharing your name with me, and you are doing it in a way that expresses you. Your name is written in bubble or outline letters of some kind. There's many different options. And you've added color to your work. And then the bonus points, if when you choose to add color, you utilize complementary colors to help with the focal point. I think that should be an easy and fun way for you just to get warmed up. All of these components still leave it very open-ended that I think all of our artwork is going to look way different, and I can't wait to see your work. To finish your work, remember you're going to upload it into Artsonia. In the Orientation Week folder, there is a video that walks you through step by step how to upload in Artsonia. In order to do that, you need your school code to access that. The school code is found in Schoology under Updates. And I will send that out again as a reminder this week on how to upload your work. So school code and updates to upload into Artsonia. You can also utilize, instead of just doing the computer, you can utilize, there is an app that's free to download onto smartphones, and that's also an easy way to do it. That's what I utilized all last year when I was uploading your artwork. If you have any questions, please reach out. I have office hours throughout the rest of the week, and they are there to help you. Office hours on Thursday are during your specials time. So you should be able to log back in during that specials time that's set aside for you working if you have questions that you want answered, or you need some feedback because you're not sure if your piece is hitting these criteria. I'm here to help support you. So message me and we can set something up if the office hours time don't work for you. I can't wait to see what you create the first week, and I cannot wait to see you again next week for the next set of lessons and your next art project.